Rotary Candidates Forum by Shelia Means and Dr. Gay Washington, candidates for School Board Ward 4. I am Christy Morrison, and I will ask prepared questions with the candidates rotating going first. They will each have 90 seconds to respond to each question and will also have 90 seconds for opening and closing statements. There will be no questions from the club members. However, they have both stated that they have time to stick around afterwards, so if you would like some time with them one-on-one afterwards, you may do so. Are we going to go ahead and go up front, do you think? Yeah, okay. Got it.
I don't have my lens. I can't see.
Okay.
There you go. We got green light.
I don't know if you can hear me. It's on.
Hey, ladies, why don't you just say testing to make sure that we can hear you?
Testing?
Testing, testing.
Okay, perfect. All right, and we're just going to remind you both that yellow means you have 15 seconds left, and the fuchsia, because I don't own red paper, means stop. Okay. All right. Opening statements are going to begin with Dr. Washington. You have 90 seconds.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for allowing us to come just to visit today and share a little bit about this adventure to move to take a seat on the Board of Education for Stillwater Public Schools. Many of you I've known for many years. I've been in Stillwater since the middle of 1970 and came to school and spent most of my career in Stillwater Public Schools. I have been a parent, a teacher, a principal, several positions at the Board of Education and Administration, and all of those positions have given me experience and the background knowledge, I think, to move into a position to sit on the school board. I see that as kind of it's another learning opportunity. Each of those positions that I've held in Stillwater Public Schools have always been a learning opportunity. Whatever I was doing at the time prepared me for the next position, and that's really what I think about when I think about moving into the school board position. So thank you.
Thank you, Sheila.
Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the Rotary Club for inviting us to have this forum so we can inform you and the ones who will be looking on live stream. Like I said, I'm Shelia Means, and my background is mostly in nursing, but also the military. I have 21 years of experience in the military. I started out as an airman basic and made it all the way to major. And I started out in nursing as an LPN and made it up to a dual master prepared nurse practitioner doing midwifery and women health. And throughout all of those different things, I feel like I've gained a lot of experience in dealing with personal relationship, team building. One of the things I did as a nurse practitioner was to actually start a federal qualified health center in Pittsburgh County in McAllister. And that's a center that provides health care for people regardless of their ability to pay. And I was the person who developed the first board. I had to recruit the first board. I was president of that board. I wrote policies and procedures for how the clinic operated, handled the budget, hiring and firing, and my last position was as the CEO of that center.
Thank you, ladies. Okay, the first question, Sheila, you're going to answer first. What is your understanding of the role and responsibilities of a Board of Education member?
Well, one of the primary responsibilities of the board is to set the policies of how the school district is going to operate. Another one of their responsibilities is to hire the superintendent, and the superintendent is the one who then implement those policies. They also approve the budget. I mean, they have a finance department who's established that budget, but then the board have to approve it. And they approve all of the hiring and the firing that goes on, but the superintendent is the one who interviews and do the first pass.
Thank you. Okay.
You bet. The board is really responsible to work with the superintendent in setting a vision for the district, Typically, that's done over a 3 to 5 year period as a strategic plan, but it's revisited every year, typically in June, July for the next year. Aside from just setting policies, and of course you all probably know that all of our policies are reviewed continuously, and legislation ends typically in May, and so we get new education bills that require new policy typically by the end of June, and then you start that process to make sure that your current policies reflect the new legislation. And so, but just know that that's a long, ongoing process. Hiring the superintendent is probably one of the key factors, because that's the person who does the day in and day out and the total responsibility. So setting policy, hiring the superintendent, completely overseeing that budget, and then also setting the vision are really the key factors.
Thank you. Because there's only two of you, then you're going to go first this next
Okay.
time. Okay. The Superintendent of Public Instruction and the State Board of Education have been progressively encroaching into areas that have traditionally been subject to the control of local school boards, such as what books may be housed in a school library. They have also been threatening the accreditation status of schools that do not comply with state demands. Do you agree or disagree with this significant shift in practice?
You know, I'm a true advocate for public education, and public education does allow for local control. And that's really probably the primary reason I'm running, is because it is so important for us right now in Stillwater and in every community to make sure that not only this race for a Board of Education seat, but everything that is done in the district is focusing on our kids in the local community and what is best for our kids. I think it's really critical right now that we advocate for that. Not that we clearly understand that the state board can set, along with the legislation, can set different guidelines that we will and have to abide by. But it's so important for us to maintain as much local control as possible, that we're listening to the parents in our community that have kids in our district, that have kids, upcoming grandkids, that it's not influenced by what's happening in the state or what's happening in the nation right now about public ed. So.
Thank you, Kate. Sheila?
Will you repeat the question?
Kevin wrote this, not me. The Superintendent of Public Instruction and the State Board of Education have been progressively encroaching into areas that have traditionally been subject to the control of local school boards, such as what books may be housed in a school library. They have also been threatening the accreditation status of schools that do not comply with state demands. Do you agree or disagree with this significant shift in practice?
Well, the first thing I have to say is that I totally agree with local control. But I think we need to make sure that we have good guidelines as to what local is doing. And I've been reviewing different policies that this school board have put out. And to be quite honest, there's a lot of good policies that this school board have. But concerning the books that are in our public school library here in Stillwater, there was a parent that brought it to the attention that there were some books that was maybe not good books that should be in a public library that children are allowed to be able to view. And when I look through the policies, there's already policies available that say that those books should not be in our library and those books should be able to be removed without going through a big drama course to get them removed, because it says in one of our policies, the policies on neglect, abuse, and trafficking, that anything that is inappropriate to be in front of a child of sexual nature, it should not be there.
Okay. All right, Sheila, this goes to you first. How do you propose to increase parental involvement, especially in Title I schools where there are often increased social challenges to overcome?
I think one of the biggest ways to increase parental involvement is just one, making sure that they can be involved, and then making all of the available avenues for them to be involved. I mean, like this right here, this forum right here, this is a way for parents to be involved. A lot of you all in here, parents or grandparents, and the ones who will see the live stream and see, well, this is what's going on in our schools, this is what's going on in our district. So just making sure that they have it. And I know one of the things that this school district put out is a student handbook, a parent handbook, and then everything about how this school is ran, it's out there. I mean, you just Google Stillwater School Board, and you can find out who the members are, you can find out the policies, and you can find out the parent handbook, student handbooks. So just making sure people are aware of that information there, because some people don't go searching, and you have to just put the information out there where they can easily see it, and just letting them know.
Thank you, Sheila. Gay?
You know, parent involvement is it's a very complex issue, and I think that the question I know is targeted about Title I schools, but truly parent involvement is an issue at all schools and all economic levels. It may be more pronounced in a Title I school. So I really think what I see is really successful is the more one-on-one conversations you have with parents about their child and how they might be able to help you within that school, or giving parents very specific things that can be done that might help them be a part of actual collaboration and moving their child forward. I know that our schools work really hard in doing like parent nights and giving them, parent conferences and those kinds of things, but over time, I think truly it's about that one-on-one connection and making them feel very valuable and that they have a purpose to be in the school. And sometimes we have to think outside of the box. Maybe that's opening up the school at times that we typically don't. Maybe it's providing transportation for parents that don't have transportation to get to the school. So just thinking of some things that we haven't maybe done in the past, or maybe revisit some things that were successful.
Thank you. Okay, Gay, this question goes to you first.
Okay.
If elected, would you work to keep the school district on its current course, or do you see a need for significant changes?
I think there have been significant changes over the last 3 or 4 years, and so I would hope to keep it on the current course and setting goals and, just always moving towards those goals with a very specific plan on how, so that we can self-evaluate, or, is what we're doing really working, and is it helping us to meet our goal? COVID has really changed the way schools look at budgeting, changed the way schools look at teaching and learning. And so some great things came out of COVID, but there's also some, we're still looking at some repercussions of being out of school, out of traditional type schooling for a couple of years. So I certainly I don't come in with an agenda that things need to be completely shifted. I really come in to say, what can I do to help support the efforts that you're looking to reach the goals? And we have to keep in mind that the focus is really on teaching and learning and anything else that supports that. So,
Thank you, Gay. Sheila?
Repeat the question, please.
Absolutely. If elected, would you work to keep the school district on its current course, or do you see a need for significant changes?
I do not see a need for significant changes, because Stillwater have a very good foundation as far as the education system go. I mean, there are some things that do need improvement. I mean, when I looked at the statistics based on where our children are as far as proficiency in reading and proficiency in math, it's not good. But when we compare ourselves to the whole, we're better than the whole. But the comparison of the whole is not good. So I think we need to look at what things do we need to put in place to help each child to be performing at the highest level possible as far as math and reading, which are the two basic skills that they need to have when they graduate from school to be able to continue with a successful life. So just looking at those things, but also keeping all of the things that we already have in place I mean, this school system offer a lot of things that other schools can't offer with their performance arts programs, their sports programs that allow some children to get into things that they may not be doing as well academic, but they can do really well in these others. So I think we need to make sure the programs that are doing well continue, but we need to look at the things that need to be added to.
Okay. All right, Sheila, this one's coming to you. How should the school board be evaluated? In other words, how should we as citizens measure your success?
Well, I think some of our success should be measured on how well the students in our district are doing academically and how well we are handling the taxpayers' money that is coming in to support the school. So those are the two main things. The biggest goal of education is to educate. So are we educating the population that we're responsible for?
Okay.
I certainly agree with both of those. There's all kinds of measurements that I think that districts keep statistics on. Attendance is a big issue. Certainly academic growth. Also, truly measuring the involvement of parents and, and just really having some true statistics about that. Also, making sure that there is a strong strategic plan, and so that, if nothing else, it gives you something to make your decisions by, so that you're making decisions that are goal-oriented and that you're not, especially when you're managing, they have about a $60 million budget, and that's a large amount of money to be able, that has lots of hands wanting to pull, and lots of needs. And so I think the public should be able to look at that strategic plan and see how the board, the district is moving towards reaching those goals. And that's public information. So it would be something that would be available. So.
Okay. All right, this one's coming right back to you.
Okay.
What is the most critical issue facing Stillwater Public Schools right now, and how do you propose we address it?
I think probably, because I really believe in the relationship of teachers and the individual relationship with students and teachers, is making sure that we have highly qualified teachers in every classroom. We have 35 emergency certified teachers right now, which is not a large number when you look at some of the things that you see in the papers, about other districts our size or larger. But the recruitment of teachers right now, because of the scrutiny of public education, and that comes nationally, it comes from our state, we're under a lot of scrutiny in public ed, so that tends to have a negative response on students or adults that are going into education. So we want to make sure that we are promoting the positive parts of our district, and then making sure that we're recruiting the best possible teachers, but also doing everything we can resource-wise and morale-wise to keep the teachers that we have. We have some of the very best teachers in the state. So. That's okay.
Okay, Sheila?
Repeat the question.
Absolutely. What is the most critical issue facing Stillwater Public Schools right now, and how do you propose we address it?
Well, I think the teacher issue, like Dr. Washington said, is one of the issues. But that's an issue for, like she said, all across the state and around the nation. Because the teaching education profession is kind of going the way a lot of other professions. Teaching, nursing, firefighters, policemen, those used to be the profession that everybody admired and they looked up to, and it seemed like all of those professions then lost some of the respect that they used to have. And so it does make people, younger people, who's trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do for my life, not necessarily looking at those professions anymore like they used to. So I think doing the things that we need to do that put that respect back in each one of those professions, so that we can always have a good pool to pull from. And then the other one is just helping parents to start knowing how to be with their children in such a way that the children will have a love for learning and knowing how to respect each other and respect the adults that are in the education environment.
Thank you. Okay, Sheila, this question's to you first. In recent months, bullying has been in national headlines. What should local schools be doing to address this concern?
Yes, it is in the national headlines, and one of the things I have been doing since starting this campaign is going out and knocking on doors of voters in the Stillwater School District, and that's one of the things I'm hearing at the doors is that we're having a problem with bullying right here in Stillwater. And I think one of those things, again, is teaching young people how to respect themselves, and then how to respect others, how to respect their peers, how to respect adults. And some of this have to start at home. Everything that is going on, we can't put it at the feet of what is going on at the school. It has to start at home. So we need to help parents to understand, you know, this is what we have, the expectation we have of your child when they come into the school environment. And when bullying takes place, I think we need to have a zero tolerance policy. Don't let them do something one time and get away with it, because then they'll be emboldened to try it again. Have a zero tolerance policy. Have parents to understand from the very beginning that's the policy. So if your child is bullying another child, then this is how we're going to deal with it.
Thank you. Okay.
Certainly, policies about bullying have been in place for a long time. It's a law. It's required. It has to be revisited over and over, and the premises of that has to be not necessarily taught over, but looking at how are we teaching and what are the strategies we're using to teach kids. Unfortunately, kids learn that from adults, and right now that is very prominent in our nation. It's not confined to Oklahoma, but there's a lot of rhetoric that's out there. But let's don't let that become the norm for us, and make sure that we do. There's all kinds of things that we can't sit back and wait on, and so I think about engaging parents in teaching dialogue to use to engage your kids, and having that. It's about one-on-one relationships. Same thing with bullying in the classroom. It often has to do a lot with the relationship of that child with that teacher, or that child with their peers. So it goes back to dealing with kids one-on-one.
Thank you. Okay, Gabe, this comes to you first. It is easy for all of us to find fault with public schools. However, what is at least one thing that our district has done particularly well in the past couple of years?
Probably one of the things that has come over the last few years has been the increase in partnerships. And this is specifically for Stillwater, but all of the different STEM areas have increased significantly over the last 4 to 5 years. So we have robotics teams in middle school, junior high, and high school that are highly successful. We have a partnership with the aeronautics program now at the high school. We have partnerships to teach pre-engineering and biomed at Meridian. We have partnerships with the elementary schools with the College of Engineering and the College of Architect. And so that gives kids the exposure at a very young age to begin to build those skills beyond just math and reading. They get to see how math and reading is going to impact them. And hopefully that just creates more and more curiosity so that they see the difference in different careers. And what's the difference in having a job and having a career? And what does that look like in the future? So I see great things happening in that area with Stillwater.
Sheila, it's easy for us all to find fault with public schools. However, what is at least one thing that our district has done particularly well in the past couple of years?
Well, she named all of those great things, but I know We have one particular school in our community, elementary school, Richmond, that actually received the Blue Ribbon Award. And my understanding is that the Blue Ribbon Award is not given out to very many schools, even across the entire nation. And to have a school right here in our community that my understanding is they was willing to do the work, to go through all of the paperwork and everything they had to do to apply for it, and they won it. So we have a great school district, and we just need to make sure we take all of the steps to keep it a great school district. I mean, the performing arts program here and our students here, they go all around, not just the United States, but they even been overseas performing and receiving awards. So it's a great system.
All right, Sheila, this is going to come to you first. If some members of the hold on, let me start over. Some members of the state legislature continue to push to expand weapons in schools. Do you support or oppose arming school district employees?
Well, I know here in our school district we have the resource officers, Stillwater policemen, but my understanding is that it's only 4 of them, and we have 6 elementary school, a middle school, a junior high school, and a high school. So they can't be, 4 people can't be in all places at one time. So I feel like if we have teachers who are willing to undergo the training, and I can see a program where the teachers who are willing to undergo that training and they come up under the leadership of those 4 resource officers that we have, then that could be something that can help make our schools safer.
Thank you. Okay.
I really do not support teachers being the one that would be in charge of being trained. Their primary job is to focus on their students and their relationships with their kids and for teaching. If there is a need for someone else to be armed at that school, other resources need to be put in place for that. I would not ever support that being a classroom teacher.
Okay. Okay, this comes to you first. What is your vision for Stillwater Public Schools 10 years from now?
Well, I see a new high school has been opened and been in operation for probably 4 to 5 years, hopefully by then. I see possibly by then we might need a 7th elementary, depending. I see lots of housing going on. I see kids continuing to succeed. Some of our programs that we've both talked about today are truly busting at the seams, because we have lots of kids that want to be active in all of these programs that we're talking about that are successful. So I see an expansion of opportunities for kids, be it that athletics, or if that's theater, or if it's whatever that might be. Might be drama, whatever. I just see us continuing on the path. We're sitting next to a very viable university, and we have career tech right here. We have a wonderful career tech program. Hundreds of partnerships that the public doesn't even know about, because they're done on a daily basis. And I just see that helping us continue to thrive.
Thank you, Gay. Sheila, what is your vision for the Stillwater Public Schools 10 years from now?
Well, one of the visions I would like to see is that we are having all of our students graduating with a high percentage, proficient in math, proficient in English, and like she said, the other programs that they have where they can go out to Meridian Tech, the ones that have completed all of their credit hours by the time they make it to the 12th grade, and they only have to go to school a half a day, already going and taking a college course, starting their college career while they're still in high school. I'd like to see more and more of that happening, so that every child is leaving the Stillwater Public School District ready and prepared for the next step in their life, whether that's going straight into a job, going into an apprenticeship, or going into the college setting.
Okay. One more question. Sheila, this comes to you first. The pandemic has pushed educators to think outside the box and consider alternatives to traditional teaching methods. How do you see blended and online learning combining to meet the educational needs of students in future academic years?
I think it's here to stay. Like I said, I'm a dual master prepared nurse. When I went back to school to get my second master as a women health nurse practitioner, I never stepped foot on a college campus. I have a degree from the University of Cincinnati. I know where it is because I passed by it one day when my husband was going to a program. And it was like, oh, okay, that's the school I'm getting my degree from. So it's quite possible for you to get 4 degrees sitting at home in front of your computer. And they have it so well developed now where you actually have interaction with your teacher, you have interaction with your peers, your other classmates, you can do projects together as a group. So I see it as something that is going to continue.
Thank you, Sheila. Gay?
I think that we've seen kids really blossom with having blended learning. We're being able to take the best of both worlds. There are courses that we're able to offer that are just strictly virtual, that we're not able to have a full-time staff because we don't have enough kids to be able to, to fill that class. But foreign language is a good example of that. You can have a lot more selection through virtual. But also, our kids are growing up in a world of technology. That is, especially, when you start and you talk about early childhood, beginning in pre-K, that is just natural. So it's like the pandemic kind of forced us to look at things differently. And it doesn't mean it takes place of a teacher or the connections between a teacher, but I do see that our kids are getting the best of both worlds right now. And that will only continue. Technology is going to surpass. And, we're going to be looking at what we're using now. It's rolling over much faster than it was years ago. And, of course, that takes money. But I see that that's definitely a benefit to all of our kids.
Okay. That's all the questions. So we're going to proceed into the closing statements in the opposite order of the opening statements, beginning with Shelia Means. You have 90 seconds.
Okay. As you know, my name is Shelia Means, and that's a very important thing to remember when you go to the polling place. Shelia Means. So my background, as you can have heard, is in nursing. But in nursing, there's a lot that you have to do to educate every patient you see after you find out what's going on with them, figure out what the problem is, and figure out what the treatment need to be. Then the next thing you have to do is educate them on how to then take care of themselves, how to use the treatment modality that you have found out were going to be best to serve them. So I feel like my background as a nurse and the education process that I had to go through to become a nurse. I'm also a mother of 5. And I was in the military 21 years. My youngest son actually went to 12 different schools from kindergarten through 12th grade. So I have a lot of experience with different education systems across the United States. And I do ask for your vote come April the 2nd.
November.
April the 2nd.
First of all, thank you so much again for letting us come in and visit. We live in a place where we're so lucky to have an active relationship between the community and the Stowe Public Schools. To have 2 people right now running for school board is unusual because there are districts our size or larger that are begging for people. So I feel fortunate to be on this ballot. I know that the experience that I have in all the different positions that I've had in the district will be certainly valuable to me as a school board member, but what I hope more importantly that experience and the relationships that I have in the community and also with not just in the school district. By all means, the school district has turned over and it significantly since I was there, but relationships with other partnerships in the community, such as the university and community members. I feel like I will be able to share their voice on the school board, and I would appreciate your vote in allowing that to happen on April the 2nd.
Thank you, ladies.